Now here's Reverend Sandy.
Thank you, Alan, so very much. It's always wonderful. John and his lovely wife are away on a little vacation in Colorado and enjoying some time. And so it's wonderful to have Alan Summer with us. We always appreciate having you here. Thanks so very much. So welcome to all of you who are here at Unity of Michiana Spiritual Center. And welcome to those of you who are joining us via our live stream service. It's always wonderful to feel connected across the miles to each and every one of us who are gathered here today with an open heart and an open mind to receive, to be blessed, to connect with each other, to learn, to grow. Here at Unity, we are a heart-centered, multi-generational, and a diverse spiritual community. And we're dedicated to teaching and practicing a positive life approach in our spiritual journey. And our vision is a world that's united in loving acceptance, celebrating inclusivity, harmony, prosperity, and awakened consciousness. And so as we breathe into this now moment, we're so grateful to just be present to the light that is inherent within us, the I am that is spoken of, that is that higher consciousness. And I will invite Catherine, who's already in place here, to light our Christ candle. Thank you. Oh, and so we just breathe into this moment. It seems such a simple activity to participate in because, goodness gracious, of course, we breathe in each moment. And yet when we breathe more choicefully and mindfully, it shifts us into a different experience of everything all around us. It shifts us into the consciousness of our own higher Christ light and identity. And so we're grateful that we're gathered here today. Gathered here to embrace, to expand. We give thanks for that open-hearted connection and the light that shines forth. And then through all being, we say thank you. Amen. And our kids are having their water day, so they're going to come on in, bare feet and all, because they've already been dabbling a little bit in the water, I believe. Are you going to bring the prayer box down? Thank you. Come on down. Thank you. You can put it, well, yeah, we put something in the way this time, didn't we? Is anybody else going to come on up there? I'm sorry, they're already out playing, huh? Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll bless them out there. We'll bless them here. Thanks.
I ask that you rub your hands together. We see you surrounded in the light of God.
Okay, and hang on. Come on down. There we go. I wish I had that much energy. Anybody else? Oh my gosh. Okay, go ahead, Catherine.
I ask that you rub your hands together, part 2. We see you surrounded in the light of God.
We see you surrounded in the light of God.
And we hold you close in our hearts.
And we hold you close in our hearts. Go have fun on your water day. Yeah. Oh, here. Can we bottle that somehow? Oh, man, I just want to take a little sip of that elixir or something. Yeah, absolutely. So, Alan, I'll turn it over to you now.
I'm Alan, and I'm just a guy and a guitar. And let's sing some songs together. I want to thank you. I want to thank you. I want to praise you. I want to do what you'd have me do. I want to thank you. I want to praise you. I want to do what you'd have me do. I want to thank you. I want to praise you. I want to do what you'd have me do. I want to thank you. I want to praise you. I want to do what you'd have me do. So every day of my life I will follow you. Every day of my life I will follow you. Every day of my life I will follow you. I will follow you. So every day of my life I will follow you. Every day of my life I will follow you. Every day of my life I will follow you. I will follow you. I will follow you. I want to know you. I want to love you. I want to do what you'd have me do. I want to know you. I want to love you. I want to do what you'd have me do. I want to know you. I want to love you. I want to do what you'd have me do. I want to know you. I want to love you. I want to do what you'd have me do. So every day of my life I will follow you. Every day of my life I will follow you. Every day of my life I will follow you. I will follow you. So every day of my life I will follow you. Every day of my life I will follow you. Every day of my life I will follow you. 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 I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is sacred love. I will leave this day as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this day as it is. Go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is more than enough. The sacred love. I will leave this life as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this life as it is. Go inside to find my God. Go inside to find my God. I'll go inside to find my God.
Alan, thank you. Such wonderful songs from Daniel Lanebod, and just moves us, certainly moves me into that place of open spirit and sets the mood and the pace for the week to come. In Unity, we have a daily publication called The Daily Word, and it's an inspiration for each day of the year. And I'll have Kelsey come forward and read our daily word, and we'll follow that with a time of mindfulness, contemplation, meditation.
Good morning. Today is July 21st, and our word of the day is valuable. As a divine being, I am valuable and irreplaceable. Each person is a spiritual being made in the image and likeness of God, blessed with a variety of spiritual gifts we share in different ways. The world needs my unique contributions. When I see myself this way, I become newly aware of my value as a member of the human family, more confident in myself as I shine the light of God as only I can. Living in the awareness of my value helps others see it too. I leave behind critical or negative opinions I may have held about myself and treat myself as the divine being I am. Like a beautiful gemstone, I too am a precious jewel among so many others. Together, we sparkle and shine. So God created humankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Genesis 1:27.
Thank you so much. And so I just invite you to relax wherever you are, whether you're at home, here in the room, to take this time for yourself. For this is a time of one-on-one connection within the heart of your being. And so once again, I invite you to breathe deeply, because with each breath that we take, even when we're not aware of it, that breath re-energizes, renews, re-oxygenates our cells, our very being. And as we breathe mindfully, and as we exhale and release, we recognize we are all a part of the divine flow, the infinite pattern of creation, the in-breath, the outer release, the ever-ongoing essence of all creation, of the divine plan, of divine order. And so as we breathe fully and relax, I will be toning our singing bowl. We recognize that we are all one in the various levels and energetic vibrations of our universe. And music is one of the ways in which we can align our soul and our being to infinite spirit, to the oneness of all creation. And as I play this singing bowl, as I tone it, allow the energetic musical vibration, which is at the level of the heart chakra, which is the chakra of love. Allow that energetic vibration to move through you, to open your being, to breathe in life and wander into all of who you are. And you might want to roll your shoulders back a little and allow that breath fully to enter into your chest and then move down into your solar plexus and engaging the diaphragm fully. Recognizing that there is an order to all of creation. That there is a beauty and a grace and a dance of the flow of all being. And with each breath, we feel our connection to the greater truth of who we are, not just this outer physical form for which we are very grateful, yet recognizing inherently we are the divine I amness. The essence of all of God's creation, of all beingness in expression. And with each breath, we receive the gift of life. And as we exhale, we release anything that impedes the flow of that dynamic power and force of infinite good. We lay a hold of, we proclaim, we affirm our oneness with wholeness and being of spirit. And whether we call that God or the breath of life or infinite pure expression, it is one and the same. All of creation, all of beingness throughout time and time to come, of which we are each an integral part, though we may seem like a tiny speck or grain of sand. We are each unique and individual, like every snowflake is unlike any other. And our presence, our light, that which we have come here to be, to share, is of such great importance, even when we do not remember or do not realize. So breathing into our very heart space, into the mind of infinite God, into the presence of infinite spirit. Let us be aware in this moment of our value. Beyond what we perceive ourselves to be just in our outer world, let us breathe into the acknowledgement and the awareness of the vast limitlessness of our potential, possibility, of our creative being, living forth into expression, being the godness of our universe, co-creating forward. so we breathe and we relax and let go. And we align with and connect to that ever-flowing life source, ever present, ever powerful and gracious, ever loving, ever creative. And we just breathe into this moment, into this allness, as we relax and let go into the silence. And as we tap into the wonder of infinite source, infinite potential, as we allow ourselves to be breathed as this divine, pure beingness, we feel the strength of a light and that presence that shines through us, as us, and on out into our world. And in this moment, in that place of the presence and the power infinitely flowing, we surround those who have placed their name in our prayer box in the light. And we take a moment to speak aloud, or for those of you who are joining via live stream, to type in the name of someone or someone's or places that you would especially bless now, as through the breath, the breathful, intentional prayer, we release into infinite presence those beloveds that we would hold dear in prayer. Terry, Matt, C, Sue Ellen, Teresa, Donalyn, Joey, Kelsey, Jack, Noah, Karen, Shireen, Unity of Michiana, Unity Worldwide Ministries and World Headquarters. Our world leaders, our politicians, our caregivers, our care workers, Tamara, Tim, through the breath that is prayer, through that intention of light, we surround all in highest good. Beloved Yahweh, beloved God, we say thank you. And so it is. Amen.
You are the heart You are the hands, you are the voice of the Spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of Spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. You're a blessing to the world. About 45 years ago, I was blessed with being introduced to the poetry of Rainier Maria Rilke, and during the pandemic, so many thousands of years ago, it seems now, I was reintroduced to one of his wonderful poems, and I wrote a song using loosely and liberally his words. Widening Circles is the English translation of this poem, and it sings like this. I live my life in widening circles that reach out across this whole wide world. I may not fulfill the goal of this last one, but I promise myself to give it my all. I live my life in widening circles, reaching out to all in this world. This never-ending expansion of circles. With all that I have, I give it my all. I circle around the primordial tower. I've been circling for thousands of years. I still don't know who or what I am. Am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song? I live my life in widening circles that reach out across this whole wide world. I may not tie the ends of this last one, but I promise you I'll give it my all. I circle around the primordial tower. I've been circling for thousands of years, and I still don't know who or what I am. Am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song? Am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song? Am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song?
What a lovely, lovely song. I'm sitting here going over my thoughts, so I'm ready to talk with you this morning, and I'm like wanting to listen to Ellen, and so I think I'm going to go back and listen afterwards, because thank goodness we post this on our website. So if any of you want a replay of that one, just pop right on there and listen to that. Thank you so much. I first just want to acknowledge the beautiful flowers that are up front here that were from Sue Ellen Peters' celebration of life that was on Friday. So we just especially hold her, we hold the family, Terry and Matt and Courtney, or she calls herself C. We hold them all in our hearts, and we can feel the presence of Infinite Spirit just surrounding them. And I kept feeling like Sue Ellen was sitting over there on the couch like usual, and especially when we did all those Daniel Nahmod songs, which are her favorites. What a wonderful synchronicity of the universe that was. And I can feel her smiling and her presence that continues to bless us, and we hold her in our hearts. So today I'm progressing into the second of this series. You asked for it. And I'd like to say, holy cow, I asked for it when I asked you to submit all your questions. And you gave me such simple ones to address. And it really has stretched me out of my comfort zone, though that happens a lot in life anyway. But I appreciate the opportunity to delve deeper, as I think all of us do sometimes, in the something we sort of take for granted or just do every day. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. What meaning and what value does that have for me? So the question was somewhat around, what is divine order? Or what is the difference between divine order and everything happens for a reason? Or is everything preordained? And I went, well, that's a good one. So today's talk is, what's this thing called divine order? So how many of you, probably in being in Unity, have at one time or another gone to that typical prayer and just said, okay, divine order, divine order. Raise your hands, raise your hands. Okay. Yeah. It's something we use often. And yet there is an opportunity today, right here and right now, to begin recognizing the amazing power that is in that prayer of calling forth divine order. And we're going to take a little bit of a look at what this might mean. Now, in all honesty, I don't have the answers, but I do have my own experience. And people wanted to have an idea of how Unity perceives. And, you know, in Unity, we're all stray cats. So what I like to say is Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore took their own time in prayer to connect to what they would have called Infinite Spirit, to be guided, to be led, to listen to the still small voice, and to come forth with wisdoms. And those wisdoms are a great foundational piece of what Unity has been about, and yet it has evolved also as other truth speakers and truth beings, which includes each and every one of us, come forth with our own experiences to share. So I will share a little bit from Charles Fillmore and some ideas, and I'll also share from my own experience, and I invite you in this moment, as you hear these words and as you are in this space, those of you at home, those of you here, to recognize there is an order greater than just this physical body and what we see in this physical outer world perception-wise. So as we start to talk about divine order, which is the foundational principle of our universe. Now, the thing is that we as humans, don't we want to define it, engage it with our intellect that wants to define it in the ways that we understand, right? And we're kind of trying to fit this vastness of all infinity into a thimble when we do that. And so to be a part of this experience and to begin moving in divine order will be an exercise in moving beyond the mental human intellect and into that which is the intellect or knowledge or beingness of all presence. And so in beginning to talk about divine order, I'll invite you to listen as much with your minds, but more so with your hearts, with your very spiritual beingness, as we talk about that which is indefinable, but which we do experience in our lives. And underlying the foundation of divine order is this thing we call God, right? This word that we have used here in the Western world. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. And I want to share first of all from scripture from Job 25:2, and it says, "Dominion and awe belong to God." Now, when we say belong to God, and in the way things have been translated to us in the English form version of our Bible, of our spiritual knowledge, we know that God is not a person or a being. We know that God is the infinite flow of all creation and existence. So dominion and awe belong to the flow of infiniteness and is established, and he or that whole flow of infiniteness has established order in the heights of heaven. And heaven, we would know in metaphysics, in unity, represents a higher spiritual consciousness. So I'd like to share a little bit of a reading from Charles Fillmore from one of his books, Dynamic Living, as we kind of take a look at thoughts around God or infinite presence or being by any other name. So he says, by describing God with words in our human way, we are but stating, he's so poetic, sorry. I love it. He's so poetic in how he writes. And think of this, because this was probably 150 years ago, right? So he goes, by describing God with words in our human way, we are but stating in the lisping syllables of the child that which in its maturity the mind still only faintly grasps. That's a mouthful, isn't it? He goes on to say, words never express that which God is. Think about that. Our mental, human, descriptive words, which we always want to put everything in a box and categorize, they cannot describe that which is indescribable. Language is a limitation of mind. Do not expect the unlimited to leap forth into full expression through the limited. It goes on to talk about being. So God is being, the creator, the infinite, the eternal. Being is omnipresent, means everywhere present. Omnipotent, all-powerful, not in power over, but the power of all existence creating. And omniscient, all-knowing, all wisdom, all wiseness. God is the absolute, incomparable, omnipresent, all good, the principle of divine benevolence that permeates the universe. The principle, not the person or not somebody up in the sky who's the puppeteer. It's the principle of all that is, of all creation. So principle or order, he goes on to say, we must relieve our minds of a personal God ruling over us in an arbitrary man-like manner. We have, of course, anthropomorphized God throughout our centuries of religion in the need to understand better something that is like ourselves versus communing and connecting with something greater. God is not person, but is principle. Divine principle is fundamental truth. God is principle, God as principle is the unchangeable life, love, intelligence, and substance of being. Divine order is the first law of the universe. Can you imagine if there was no order in our universe to the flow of all things? Of course, it's really hard for our human minds, and we want to put it in that little category of defining it. Can you imagine the stars and the planets and the universes beyond this one if there was not some order to that? And even though it may look like chaos, chaos is simply the experience of the moment of beingness. And so we recognize that divine order is a first law of our universe. And he speaks of reality. So God is the one harmonious principle underlying all being. So the word God, or what we use as God, or whether we use Yahweh or Allah, or the breath of life, or infinite presence, it's a one harmonious principle underlying all being and the reality out of which all that is eternal comes. Whew. Okay, how's your mind wrapping around that one? How are you breathing, though, into it? Isn't there something stirring inside? Because when truth is spoken, even though our minds are like going to sleep, and, it's like there's something that stirs because we recognize truth. Reality is that which is abiding, eternal, and unchangeable. This is not perceived reality. This is the truth of all beingness reality as harmonious principle. So spirit, God is spirit, the principle of creative life, the moving force in the universe. Excuse me. God is life. God is in the universe as its constant breath. As its constant breath. So in beginning to kind of take a look at what is divine order, how does it operate in our lives, it's fundamental for us also to be on board kind of together in an understanding of what lies behind and in and through divine order, that which we are talking about as the presence of Godness or all beingness or creator, by whatever word. Pastor Emily David, who is an author at explainingthebible.com, she says, in the New Testament, Paul writes to the Corinthians. Paul was, after Jesus died and the disciples were moving out in the world, Paul was one of the strongest proponents of taking some of the messages and some of his own awarenesses out to all the people. And he wrote letters often to the people of Corinth. And so Paul writes to the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians 14:33, reminding us that God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. And so she says here, Paul emphasizes that God's nature is not chaotic or disordered, but instead embodies peace and coherence. Ooh, that's a fun word, isn't it? I mean, doesn't it just resonate in you when you hear coherence? Ooh, there's strength in that. There's wisdom. And Epictetus, who was a Greek Stoic philosopher back in Roman times, says, remember that the divine order is intelligent and fundamentally good. This is way back in Roman times. The divine order of all things is fundamentally intelligent and good. Life is not a series of random, meaningless episodes, but an ordered, elegant whole that follows ultimately comprehensible laws. Whew. Okay, so as we begin then to wonder about affirming divine order, that which is ours to do is to begin to shift our focus. So, when stuff happens in our lives, maybe we've been let go from our place of business. Maybe we're having some issues in our family. Maybe our world and the way we experience it is experiencing some political challenges. Maybe we have a health diagnosis that we are moving through. Maybe there are friends that we wish to support in their needs. And so prayerfully, we begin this process of affirming divine order. And how many times have I said it? How many times have you said it? We just sort of say it because it's by rote. We've heard it, we use it, and we do that because as human beings, we feel helpless at times. We feel that we no longer have control of the situation, right? Especially from our outer human perspective. And so what's so very important for us as spiritual beings, as human spiritual beings, is to begin recognizing how important it is to shift our focus. So instead of focusing on what seems to be the reality of out here in our world, the issue, the problem, the challenge, the frustration, the anger, the fear, instead of focusing on that and repeating, because don't we do that? Have you seen, those little hamster wheels? And man, do I get on that little hamster wheel. I just keep going and going, and that little mind is going off and off. And stop and breathe, right? Okay, and shift. And our minds, don't they really want to be in control? They want to be driving the car, don't they? So they go, I'm not going to get off that hamster wheel. And yet then I breathe and I go, wait a minute, that's not so much fun after all. And I'm going to recognize and remember and begin to shift in my consciousness and where my focus is going, not just mentally, that's a place where we start, but then shifting into the core of being, into my soul, into the heart of infinite presence. And so in that process of affirming, that one of the first steps to do is to shift where our focus is, to center in within ourselves, and then recognize that often as we say, I leave it to divine order. It's like because we're frustrated or we don't know what to do, which is natural. It's a part of humanness. It's like, here, God, you take it. You do something with it. You help me. You save me. I've done it often. We all do, because that's a part of our natural thing. Somebody help me. So what I'm saying is instead, as spiritual beings, friends, in each and every moment, we have choice. And we can step off the hamster wheel of what's going on up here and begin simply to breathe. Or I'll tell you, go back on the recording of today and listen to Alan's song and just be in that and be immersed in that. Because it helps shift us from this up here, what I call it the monkey mind, And it moves us into a space of being. There's the truth of who we are. And music is a wonderful avenue through which to do that. Prayer, meditation, walking in nature, walking along the shores of water or river, lakes, whatever. But be willing to open and experience things differently. In Scripture, from Psalm 119, verse 18, it says, "Open my eyes so that I may behold wondrous things out of your law." Now, I don't know about you, but my human mental intellect, when I hear law, I go, bet me. Anybody else do that? No, it's just me, right? We all want to break the laws a little bit. But when we hear the word law, how we feel about it oftentimes, maybe it's just me, but how we feel about it is like this, stricture thing, and we've got to be within that. What this is referring to, the wondrous things of law, is the law of the order of the universe, which is of every infinite possibility of benevolence. So I just invite you, when you hear the word law, not to do like I do, which is, say, wait a minute, but to really breathe into the beauty of true law, not human law, but true infinite law. So, open my eyes so that I may behold wondrous things out of your law, out of the law of the universe. And in Proverbs 16:9 it says, the human mind plans the way, but the Lord directs the steps. And from Psalm 37:23, the Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. What that means is there is not the Lord outside of ourselves, which we tend to think of, but the Lord of all beingness, the infinite intelligence of creator of our universe, makes firm our steps when we focus and allow and immerse ourselves in that connection. So in this process of affirming divine order, the first step is shifting from outer perception and then beginning to recognize that what is ours to do in the prayer of divine order is not to just throw it out there for some other being out there, some big, huge puppeteer to handle the issue, but to recognize that what is ours to do as spiritual humanity is to align ourselves with the flow of all of creation. So instead of affirming divine order out there and letting it go, we affirm divine order within ourselves in order to allow that greater wisdom and creativity and guidance to be present in all of the situations in which we find ourselves. Charles Fillmore says, "For God reveals himself to every one of us when we, with open mind, listen. Listen to the word of being itself. It is the spirit in a man, in a woman, the breath of the Almighty that makes him understand." So Charles is inviting us and reminding us, as we can do right here and right now, and so many of our avatars of light throughout time have reminded us that this physical body is just some clothing we wear for a while. But our eternal soul beingness is ever ongoing. And when we shift from trying to direct everything from up here and being in control to being in a deeper expression and a flow, that our lives change creatively, dramatically, constantly. Divine order is the infinite flow of universal potential, creation, and oneness, ever expressing in and through all. It's the infinite flow, friends. That means always, ever present, no limit to it, active, moving, constantly present. It's that flow of universal potential, limitless potential, creation, the creativity, the wisdom, the guidance, and the oneness. That is all of the order of the ongoing universe that is ever expressing in and through all. So as we begin to look at divine order differently, I just invite you, it sort of comes to mind, we rattle it off because, of course, in that human place, when we are facing things that are challenging or fearful or are startling or make us angry or upset, it's easy to just turn it over to something else. But this is the practice of a metaphysician, of a spiritual being that we engage in. That's why we choose to come here, not to have someone else do it for us, but to learn how to be and do for ourselves and recognize we are God in expression, folks, in our world. And so it is our opportunity to align ourselves with infinite spirit and to recognize when we voice or when we feel the prayerful divine order, we know as we place ourselves in alignment with that infinite source, that we are affirming and calling upon every opportunity for wisdom, for grace, for guidance, differently than we might see in our outer world. We're calling upon infinite potential within us. We're calling upon every ability that lies in the sustenance of all beingness. It is up to us to affirm that and call it forth and listen. Open our eyes, be aware, and to operate from in divine order. I am at one with universal principle, and I can call upon that at any time. And though my head may not understand, my whole being can fairly sizzle with zeal, as Charles Fillmore used to say, in that acknowledgement of that pure potential and that presence everywhere and always within. From Scripture in Proverbs 3:6, it says, "In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths." Indeed. In other words, acknowledge the flow of that infinite presence and wisdom. And then our paths change and open before us. In Matthew 6:33, continually seek the kingdom. And this is not a kingdom somewhere up in a heaven or somewhere else. Continually seeking the kingdom is seeking the connection to the allness of infinite being. That is the kingdom. And his righteousness, or the right flow of everything. So seek that. Focus on it, connect with it, align with it, and all these things will be added to you, friends. The scripture before was talking about clothing and our food and all the things that we need. It's like when we seek that higher connection, all things are added to us. And from Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Enter into the stillness. Enter into that place where we can step aside from the chatter, monkey mind chatter, and just be still in the presence and allow ourselves to feel the infusion that brings, the connection, the alignment. Many of you are familiar with a very famous motivational speaker and author. His name is Wayne Dyer. He said, "Let the world unfold without always attempting to figure it all out." How many of you want to figure it out? Oh, come on, raise your hands. Every single one of us do. Yeah, that was kind of a rhetorical question, but it's like, it's good for us to really stop a moment and see, how much of the time do I spend thinking it's up to me to figure it out? That's a lot. Now, if I were figuring it out from infinite flow spirit, that's one thing. But when I'm, encased up here in all the past belief systems and all the stuff, when we're talking about world politics, when we're talking about our workplace, when we're talking about things in our families, it's like I don't always have to figure out in the ways I've always done things and the ways everybody else has done it and what I think is. He says, don't try so hard to make something work. Simply allow. Oh man, I'm always in control. Okay, it's got to go this way, and I make my list, and I, direct everything. And it's so fun to, how many of you have gone on rafts down the river, and you just go, or kayaking, or canoeing, or just being out on a floaty in the lake. It's like, so simply allow, friends. Because we always think we need to make it happen. Let's allow it to happen. Not because someone else or something outside of us does this, but allowing it to be that infinite wisdom that guides us forward and simply moves it out into expression. And Elaine Welteroth, she, from her book More Than Enough, she's a journalist, an author, a TV host. She's an amazing African-American woman that just shines out loud, just wonderfully. She says, there is a divine order, a divine flow to our lives. We don't need to have all the answers. Our job is to keep on dreaming and trusting enough to put one foot in front of the other, to keep moving forward, to keep pushing beyond whatever feels confining, to continue expanding, staying open to being stretched, and allowing room to be completely awed by how much better it gets along the way. So friends, I invite you in your sense of divine order and in your affirmations, your prayers of divine order, to kind of notice when it just comes out by rote and then goes, oh, wait a minute, I heard the other day there's another way to do this. And just breathe into being. Breathe into being. And then affirm divine order and feel the difference in the prayerfulness of that, because it's authentic. It comes from infinite spirit. And then we open ourselves and allow, because the answers come in their timing, in that divine flow, and trusting in that process. And so in closing, I have two quotes. One from Iyanla Van Zandt, and she is an inspirational speaker, a life coach, a lawyer. She says, faith is the inner sense of knowing that with divine order working on your side, all things will come together for your good. Now again, this may not be what our intellectual outer appearance minds thought was our quote-unquote good, but it is the infinite good that is greater than what we might see in outer appearances. And trusting in that allows it to flow. And Florence Scovel Shinn, she's an author that Unity has used her books quite a bit. She wrote in the early 1900s along the same time as Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, and they knew each other. She's a spiritual teacher, a metaphysical author, an illustrator. And she says, trust in the divine order of the universe and know that everything is working out for your highest good. So there you have it, friends. My take and my sharing on what I know of unity and the principles in unity, and my own sense of divine order, what it is and how we practice it, and what a difference it does indeed make in our lives and in all we do. So I look forward to next week and to sharing something else, and thank you for being part of the service today. So at this time, I'll run through our quick announcements, our fun things that are happening. We do have our Mexican trained dominoes today right after church. We'll have fellowship, and those that want to stay and play Mexican trained dominoes can do so. Even if you don't know how to play, you can catch on real quick, and it is so much fun. It's just a great thing to enjoy. We want to remind you, too, that the Wednesday Zoom group, it's a discussion group. We've been working with Linda Martellowitz's book, Discover Your Divinity, A Modern Guide in Affirmative Prayer, which is right along with everything I've talked about today. Her pulling a lot of old unity wisdom in a greater clarity for us, and it's wonderful. And then we take time for a meditation with some music in the background, and my cats go to sleep, and it's just a wonderful time. So you can come on and just join that on Wednesdays for actually for this next week from 6 to 7:30. 7, from 6 to 7. We sometimes go over that a little bit. Susan sends out the link to the Zoom meeting, and so if you are interested in receiving that link and you do not, by email, please be in touch with the office and she will be sure you get that. Also, our Moms Gather and Grow group at Unity will be tomorrow, Monday. It's their second meeting, and it's a moms group, and we, regardless of gender, because in today's world we have all genders who are serving in that position of being a mom. And so this is a time for moms, for people to come together to address, to look at, and express and be with each other, express their concerns, or to learn and grow, or just to have a place to be with one another. The next meeting is tomorrow right here, and childcare is provided, and a light dinner will be here. So if you have friends who are in that role and would like a community of people to be with, let them know about this. They can go on to Unity's Facebook page, and underneath that there is a group page for the Moms Gather and Grow. That they will be meeting once a month. And then I'm excited because our church picnic is coming up August 11th, so put that on your calendar. And it's Friendship Sunday, church picnic. Invite your friends. We have wonderful hot dogs and hamburgers and all kinds of goodies. Bring whatever goodies you want to share. It also coincides with the second Youth Water Day. They're having a water day today and having fun. But that will be on August 11th. Be sure and put that on your calendars. And we want to say that we have included, because we, on our push pay on our giving app, oftentimes you will see that there is an opportunity if you want to not only give through your credit card, but to also choicefully be willing to pay the little bit of additional charge, the 2 or 3% charge that it takes to be able to use a charge card. Now, this isn't a have to or a should, but out there it's a common practice that people are invited into, if they care, as they give a gift, to also check off the box that says, I will also pay that little bit extra to cover the cost of processing through this wonderful avenue of, you just click your card and there it goes. So we just want you to know that's what that is, and it is fully optional. It's not a should, a have to, anything, but many people have said, well, can't I pay for that? So we now will have that on our website and through all the ways that you can give, not just the website, but through our app and everything else. So that concludes our announcements, and I just want to invite you now into a time of affirming that flow of the divine order of our universe, which is ever plentiful. It's our source. And we appreciate the gifts, the contributions that you give as being a part of that flow of life that help Unity of Michiana continue to keep its door open to operate and to be present. And so if you will take your offering, perhaps you've already given online, or you choose to do so now, or just the consciousness that you send forth in this now moment, and you hold that in your hand, which for me is sort of represents that infinity symbol of all sufficiency. And will you affirm with me our prosperity affirmation? I have faith in God as my infinite source. I gratefully receive and freely share all of God's wondrous, abundant prosperity. And so we are open to, and we affirm together the vibrancy of Unity of Michiana, the vibrancy of our lives, of this opportunity of being together, of sharing together, opportunity to bring other people into a place where they will find upliftment, inspiration. And we know that the gifts of the universe are ever active, abundantly to bless us all. And we say thank you. And so it is. Amen. And now we'll end with our prayer song and our prayer for protection.
Oh, the sun and the wind and rain being everything we need.
All right.
Father, sky above, Mother earth beneath. Peace on earth, peace on earth, peace on earth, peace on earth. We are sisters and brothers all around. We lift our voices high in one joyous sound. Peace on earth, peace on earth, peace on earth, peace on earth.
prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Blessings.
Om Bhurva Swaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat O God of light, O God of all, restore our minds for higher good. O light of lights, shine down on me. Inspire me, O soul supreme. Om Bhurva Swaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat O God of light, O God of all, restore our minds for higher good. O light of lights, shine down on me. Inspire me, O soul supreme.